All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. Now we're going to talk about Nate Diaz because Nate Diaz has demanded his release from the UFC, and I know exactly why. Not only do I know why he wants out, I know why the thing that's happening that is causing him to want out is happening, and I'm going to share that with you guys. Or at the very least, I'm pretty sure I know. So consider it 98% accurate speculation. Now, before we get into that, though, really quick, I have been telling Gabrielle that I would plug this for a long, long time. But I made her promise that I'm going to get to plug that in exchange, in ways that sometimes are not necessarily on the table. I'm just kidding. But I'm real, in total reality, this stuff right here that Gabrielle sells, this is her business. This is her business. She sells these products from home. They are the bump. This is called Georgia Peach Tea. They call it, it's the Happy Co. They call it, this is a Georgia Peach Tea. This stuff, you think what's the cleanest up, Red Bull, 5 Hour Energy, those kinds of you would not think that there's a Georgia peach tea that's twice as effective with absolutely no downside, no come down. It sounds impossible, right? It's not. And I'm telling you that right now. If there's anything in this world that I know a lot about, it's about substances that will move your mood in one direction or another. This is the bomb. And that is a fact. I would say it if my wife didn't sell this stuff, if I was just buying this from someone random, it's one of those things where if I was running low, I would make sure that I had it and did express shipping, because it would be a problem for me if I ran out, because I love it that much. Anyway, so the links are in the description. Give it a run if you want. And if you want to talk about that business, Gabrielle makes 6 figures selling this stuff from home. So while she watches all 3 kids, I don't do any parenting except for jiu-jitsu. Anyway, so let's talk about Nate Diaz, though. Okay, so straight up, here's the deal. Nate Diaz has demanded his release from the UFC. And in his tweet, he said that they won't give him a fight. He's like, if you're not going to give me a fight, then let me out of my contract. I got shit to do. Totally understand. I mean, obviously, I understand exactly right. He's like, okay, so I'm locked under contract and you guys aren't giving me a fight. Okay, so here's what, you know what? If you watch my channel consistently, you already know, right? You already know what's going on. How many fights does Nate have left on his deal? 1. Right? So the UFC is reluctant to give him that fight because why? Because they want him to sign a new deal before they'll give him a new fight. And Nate's like, no, I'm not signing a new deal. I just want to fight my contract out. And they're like, all right, well, totally understand. And then they stall. And then they offer him a different type of agreement. Okay, well, what about this? We'll give you this fight. We'll guarantee you this fight. He's like, no, I just want to fight. Okay, got it, Nate. Back to the drawing board. They're dragging this thing out because they don't want to give him his last fight. Obviously, it's Nate Diaz, dude. He actually has tremendous value. In the open market, he's tremendously valuable. You get Nate Diaz in a Jake Paul fight, that's going to sell, son. You get Nate Diaz in a homeless slap boxing match, that's going to sell. Okay? He is a tremendous asset to the UFC. And like I've said a million times, the UFC's business model is built around blockbuster fights. And that sounds totally common sense, but it's not. If you really think about the application of these things, okay? You have cards, the UFC knows how these cards are going to perform, within, with a margin of error before they even go off. They have all these, they know how valuable these guys are. And there are only a handful of people that are true needle movers, real needle movers, where they fight and things change. Masvidal is 100% one of them, probably even more so now after, this thing that's going on. Nate Diaz absolutely is one of them. Nate Diaz could lose 7 fights in a row and he'll still be an insane draw because people love him like that, dude. There's nothing you could, I said this in my video the other day, when I was talking to Anthony Smith, it's there's nothing you could do that's better for your brand than winning a fight against Conor McGregor. That's just, Conor is that, and people need to recognize this, okay? I want you to actually, just for a second, step away from Nate Diaz, because I just laid it out. They won't give him a fight because then he would be a free agent. They want him to sign a new deal. That's why they're dragging it out. The end. That's basically the end of what we're talking about here. But I want to take a moment for 1 second. To all you Conor haters, people who are real Conor haters, which I have never been, nor will I ever be, okay? Barring him doing something totally insane that seems like it would be totally out of character. But given everything that he's done, he just looks like a reckless kind of genius lunatic type guy, which I like guys like that. But, I'm not condoning every single thing he's ever done, obviously. I'm just saying he's never done anything that's put me in any other, I like that he's in the sport. Okay. He's a superstar. I am a fan of the sport. The more exciting the sport, the more entertained I am. He's the most entertaining out of everybody. But I want you to think about this, okay? So who are the biggest stars in the UFC? Like the biggest draws that there are. Like who pushes the needle in the UFC, right? Masvidal, Nate Diaz. Okay, I would bet, and I bet the metrics. I bet the metrics on those two. And then Khabib, But the metrics on those guys are unbeatable versus everyone else, right? I mean, I don't know that for sure, but like, I don't know who would push the needle more than those guys, honestly. And who do they all have in common? Like, and then Dustin Poirier now, huge star now. What do they all have in common, right? What do those 4 guys all have in common? Who are all, coincidentally, huge needle pushers now. All of them beat Conor McGregor. Like, that's how big of a star Conor is. That's how big of a star Conor is. That you can fight and beat him, and then that is the catapult that puts you into needle mover land. But here's the thing, dude. Once you're in needle mover land, it doesn't matter how you got there. You're making money, son. You got leverage. You have leverage to the point where they won't even give you a fight because they want you to resign so much. Now, if they won't give him a fight because they want him to resign so much, what do you think that says about how much money they're probably offering? Probably a lot, dude. Probably a lot. They don't want him to go anywhere. They want him to sign a Masvidal deal. Masvidal, for the deal, he just signed a deal right before the Colby fight. You want to know what he signed right there? He signed, will never fight anywhere outside the UFC unless Dana grants me permission, which is fine. That's good. Like, that's a good thing because he probably got paid an enormous amount of money, which he deserves. So, like, but that's I guarantee that's exactly what they're trying to do with Nate. They want to put a deal in front of him that will pay him a lot of dough, but locks him up. They do not, it's not just about the lost revenue of Nate Diaz. It's also about the impact that Nate Diaz can have on a competing up-and-coming organization, okay? Think about bare knuckle boxing. What just happened with bare knuckle boxing? Okay, they got bought by Triller because Triller raised a bunch of money. They raised $100 million in funding, right? Now, I originally was saying, like, why are they doing these stupid music concerts with the fights? And then when someone explained it to me, I was like, that's brilliant, actually. I mean, because my question is, I fucking hate when they I hate places do the music and the fights together. I don't give a shit about fucking Saweetie. I don't care about Justin Bieber. I'm here for fucking violence, man. I'm here to watch dudes who are trained killers fight each other. That's what I want. What on earth does that have to do with fucking Doja Cat, man? Nothing. So as a viewer, it made no sense. But then they're like, no. They're making their money on the concert. They're selling concert tickets. The concert tickets are paying for the fighters. So they get to build the fight brand without having to expend any or allocate any of their money, like any of their capital, right? The goal as a business, when you're just building, building at their stage, if they can break even on a show, that's fucking great. And not just like break even on a show, but break even on the show plus paying everybody that's kind of in the company itself. Like, combine all those costs, your employees, all the costs, plus the show, you break even. That wouldn't be considered like a success for the UFC. UFC's making money now, but at the stage that the Triller's at, they just want to break even, man. They just want to stay even at the, that's a win. BKFC had no ability to do that. They can't put on concerts. They can't do any of that shit. So with BKFC, they're putting on shows, they're losing money. They're putting on more shows, they're losing money. The only way they can sign fighters that they might be able to bring a draw in is by paying them enough to draw them over to BKFC. But they can't do that and simultaneously make a profit or break even because they don't have the infrastructure for it yet. They don't have the viewer base for it yet. And also, there is a way to build BKFC. They just have not figured it out. I figured it out. And I pitched it to someone who is totally uninvolved with that thing, but might be involved at some point. And I was like, look, you want to see how I'm telling you, I know how you build that, dude. And they are, at least thus far, are looking in the wrong place. They're looking in the wrong place. There is a correct way to do it. They're looking in the wrong place. But nonetheless. So, anyway, that is pretty much what I got on this. If I was going to guess where this ends, I don't know. I don't know where Nate Diaz's contract date ends. What's the, I don't even know if he has an end date, right? Francis had one of the first ones that has an end date that he can't go past, which is why he's in the position that he's in. But here's the thing. Francis is with CAA. Francis's management group has lawyers and legal to defend him, right? Like if you're not with CAA, and I mean there are very few fighters that are, you know, the UFC can just be like, no, you know, we're like our position is blah blah blah, and then they just make it so expensive to bang them with them in court that like, you know, you're locked in. You may as well sign a new deal. Honestly, like if I was a manager and I was Nate Diaz's manager and I wasn't at CAA, I mean, I would be like, look, man, how much are they offering? Like, tell me, you know, or let me tell you what we stand to make in free agency if we go fight Jake Paul, okay? And let me take that to the UFC. And ultimately, I mean, let's be honest, like how many fights can we rely on with Jake Paul? 1, maybe 2. So if we're going to make, you know, $8 million over there, then, you know, we bring bring 16 million to the UFC and let them figure out a way that we get there. You know, do you mind having to fight twice a year for a couple of years? You like to fight, right? So if we can get to 16 that way, then, you know, then we're there. We have them put some kind of guarantee against the 8 that you'll make that's guaranteed over here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just, I would personally be trying to figure out a way to keep him in the UFC if I was his manager. That's what I would do, you know? But, I mean, I'm not him. If he, like, anyway, I don't know any terms beyond what I've said. I can guarantee you why he's not going to fight is because he won't sign a new deal. So anyway, that's what I got. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, watch out for my new Justin Gaethje video coming out right now. Peace.